Hello, everyone. This is Out of the Box Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Andre, here with my co host, Bradley Powers, and we've got two interesting guests tonight. They are both MUFON representatives, Charles Plater and Mark Wilson. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm all right.
Pretty
And
good.
yourself? Thanks
Pretty
for
good,
having
thank
me.
you. Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming aboard. We appreciate it. A lot of people, they tend to think that MUFON has been infiltrated by the government, that it's run by the government, and that on authentic cases they tend to shy away from so that the truth isn't actually revealed. Is there any truth to that?
None that
Well,
I'm aware of.
when you're speaking about the government, anything is possible, but they they don't control me, and that's the most
Oh,
important
yeah,
thing.
exactly, and that's why I'm
Exactly.
directing that question
Exactly.
at you guys. Yeah,
I
in other
agree
words,
with
you
I
guys,
agree with I agree with Charles
right?
on that point because as individuals within the organization,
So
we
you
can't
guys are
control
for
what we do.
you guys are
We
for the
they give
cause.
us they give us a job to go out to investigate. We go out and investigate it to the best of our ability. We present the evidence. Then whatever they do with it after that, that's up to them.
Right.
But is there,
So so we
but
gather some evidence and we see some things, and I mean, it is what it is. I make my report of what it is, and if they want to try to tell me it was a weather balloon, that's their business.
right,
Yeah, it's
but
like
the thing is,
I was telling these guys last night, Charles, that I had a sighting about 3 months ago, personal sighting, and the object was about the size of a Buick, and it flew nice and slowly through the sky, no sound, no nothing, and then just vanished. And my higher up in here in Missouri, Debbie Ziegler or Ziegelmeyer, um, she wrote it off as a Chinese lantern.
Hmm.
so let me ask you this
So
question here. Can I? All right, let me ask you this question. In your recollection or in your field that you know of, has there ever been any cases authenticated as far as being extraterrestrial?
Well, I live in upstate New York. It's a rarity that there's a sighting, so I have yet to actually gone out in the field and investigate anything personally. I'm always got my ear to the ground. As soon as I'm called upon, I will, to the best of my ability. But I don't live in an area where it's a common occurrence. So I always have my head in the skies. I'm one of those who want to experience these things and have yet to. But when I do, I know how I'm going to conduct myself.
Yeah. So obviously,
Right.
Whereas I
I
am
want to. I
in
want to. I want to ask Mark when he first started, when he first became affiliated with MUFON. How long did it take for you to get your first case?
um, roughly about 3 months actually, and
Okay.
then
Is that because of
there
the
were
area you're in?
very far and few in between here and there. There was another rep within my area who was quite adept at doing those. Doctor Dr. Reary he would go out and do do most of the investigating. Every time and he'd have a job, he would ask if I wanted to go along with it. But for the most part, took about 3 months for my very first case.
Okay. See, when it happens here for me, everybody's going to come to me. I'm I'm the one to come to. Right now, everybody thinks
you're
I'm
the
Looney Tunes.
you're the only one in that area.
Yeah, at my immediate area. Yeah.
now
See,
MUFON.
when I first joined up, there was another rep just 28 miles away from where I was at. So when I first joined up, he was the rep in charge of all of southeastern Missouri.
Okay.
So he handled that whole area that
Right.
I was in at that time. Now I'm up around the St. Louis area. I'm not sure exactly who it is up here that's in charge of this area. I got to look at my regional map. Um, but I've had quite a few cases where you know people have given their evidence to me. I've looked it over. I give my evidence back to MUFON, and I never hear anything else from it for a long time. The only way to find out about it is you actually go online to MUFON, pull the case up, the case number up, and see what they came up with. That's how I knew about my own case, and me and my number one official still going round and round over mine.
Now, on MUFON website, is there actually any cases that you know of that have been authentic, that they claim are authentic or found to be authentic?
Well, that one picture I showed you guys the other day of the bomber and the object behind the bomber, it was only there for a mere moment because I had taken a set of snapshots, one right after the other, but the object only appeared in one snapshot. Click, 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 click. That quick, and it only appeared in one, like the middle set of snapshots, and they have no clue what that object was. They're still debating over it. So I've had at least one that was a legitimate UFO sighting.
Tammy Bonham is asking, have you found out any information on crop circles? Like, are any of them real? And if so, do you think they're codes of some sort? In other words, codes that could be deciphered as messages to mankind?
Well, me personally, I don't live in an area with crop circles, but I've seen them, and they are what they are. They are what they look like. They look like messages. They look like something that maybe we can't decipher. Somebody can decipher. They are messages. They're not somebody out there with things attached to their feet walking around in the middle of the night. That's for sure. Some of them are, and that's a deterrent. But the real McCoy, they're out there for sure.
I believe that. I believe that as well.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I agree also. One of my friends on Facebook, she is very heavy into crop circles. She has done a number of books on them. I can't disclose her name at the moment without her permission because she's quite famous in the crop circle department. But she has determined that a lot of them are, could be messages, like could be like what he said, just messages. We just have no idea of determining what the message was. And then there are those who are faked. I don't know of any crop circles being done in the United States, very rarely. Most seem to be in England. I don't understand it, but most of them seem to be in England. So
yeah, they say signs, symbols, and sigils are the language of the gods, which you'll normally find in crop circles. Allegedly, the crop circles are actually manifested there because they say that the planet rotates and it vibrates like an unbalanced tire, and the crop circles actually help to synchronize and balance the planet as it rotates around. That's what I'm saying.
Vic Makarov is asking, does MUFON actually investigate personal cases when it comes to dealing with people's interactions with aliens or just UAP sittings?
We do it all.
Yeah.
Last I knew, we do everything.
That would be sightings,
alien abductions,
Yeah.
interaction with aliens, UFO sightings, crop circles. MUFON does it all.
that would be in what was it? Close encounters of the first, second, third, and fourth kind.
Correct. Fourth kind, definitely.
Johnny
And
Mark
then,
says. Johnny Mark says maybe the crop circles are signatures and not messages.
maybe the crop circles are just messages back to the mothership.
You mean like
Symbol.
alien graffiti?
yeah, yeah. That'd be a good way to put it.
John was here.
They're very good graffiti artists. And
No, I think that would say Paul was here. Remember that movie?
Yeah, there you go. They're just messing with us. I remember the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone episode. Something about Mulberry Street, and they had
Oh,
these
yeah.
aliens up on the hill, and they would
Uh-huh.
flash the lights and blink the lights, and people were going running all over the neighborhood, going crazy, you know. And then it was an experiment. He said, "That's all we have to do is blink some lights and this and that," and they turn on each other. It's amazing. So they could be just messing with us, you know. I mean, in some situations. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? Aliens gonna have if we made in their image, they can have a sense of humor.
Yeah. How about Orson Welles in what was it, 1936, with his radio broadcast?
Oh yeah, they had to break into the broadcast and remind people this ain't real.
That's right. People were going.
This is,
People were
you know,
going crazy. Yeah. Some people
This-
even committed suicide. Yeah.
I know, right? We had to break in with the evidence. This is from the makers of Maxwell House, sponsored by.
There was
Chock full
another
of
one.
nuts.
There was another one on the Twilight Zone. The title was "To Serve Man."
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, that
It
was.
turned out to be a cookbook.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man.
They had
ended
a
up
few
on
of them.
menu.
They had one with what's his name? Meredith. He played in Rocky. What's his name? Meredith.
Burgess Meredith.
Burgess Meredith, and he played this simpleton, and they chose him to be smart, and he had all the knowledge and everything, and everybody
Yeah, I
was questioning
remember
him.
that. Yeah,
And then he
I remember
lost that ability, and he turned back into a simpleton. But when the aliens were leaving, they passed another group of aliens that were coming in that wanted to do experiments, and they directed him to the simpleton. He said, "We use him," and they blessed him with feats of strength or something like that. You know,
Yeah,
they had
that's why
Twilight Zone was out there, but
yeah, it was pretty
They-
wild. Yeah.
you know, that actually, I live where Rod Sterling went to high school.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he went to high school. He went to Binghamton High. That's where I'm in the area of Binghamton. I live in Owego, which is a town, a village, about 20 miles from Binghamton, which is the major city out here. You know, but I'm originally from Manhattan, so
So
when
what
they
is
say
that?
city,
Is that like one of the boroughs? Or?
what Owego?
Yeah.
It's one of the villages. They got villages and towns out here.
Oh, I see.
Oh, really?
Binghamton would be
We
the
did
city. I mean,
realize
if you look
there
on the map, you know, you'll see Binghamton before you see anything else. You got to zoom in to see the villages.
Yeah.
But that's where he's from, and a lot of his episodes deal with Syracuse and Binghamton. That's why, because he's from here.
We didn't realise there was villages in America, to be honest.
it's called Bringing It Home.
Yeah, I'm actually, like, you know, if you've seen my profile on Facebook, I am the deputy mayor of my village.
Yeah, wow, impressive.
Hmm.
Right. And a
There's
trustee
too
as
many
well.
people in here for me to
I'm a
be
trustee. Yeah, I'm a trustee. Actually, I'm going into my fourth term. I'm going to be voted in. I'm running unopposed. So next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, is election day. So I will be voted in again.
Yeah.
Vic
Congratulations.
Makarov
Thank you.
Vic Makarov is asking. So, what's MUFON official position when it comes to people being abducted by aliens?
We try to, as far as I know, we try to approach it with an open mind. we don't keep a closed mind, we keep a skeptical mind, because we have to have a skeptical mind to determine whether or not something is real or not.
Right.
But we
The
keep
main
our
the main
minds
thing.
open, and we listen and document as much of the story as we can, and then try to corroborate that with other stories that we may have heard. See if there's any similarities to it. See if their stories match up with other people's stories from, maybe somewhere in that same area.
Right. So when we go in and we talk to people, we're not affiliated with the government. We're not going in with black suits and shades and that little thing, that the nebulizer, the zap your memory. We're not those guys. So we're more. We put the person or abductee or person who cited something more at ease talking to us than with the men in black people. So
Look into the blue light.
yeah.
Oh, we don't
Yeah,
do that.
we don't do. They haven't given us those.
As
No, I don't have one.
MUFON giving you their opinion on the Black Knight satellite.
On the Black Knight satellite? No, they haven't given
Yeah.
me any opinion on the Black Knight satellite. Everything I have discovered on that, I discovered on my own. I
Okay.
believe I sent you a couple pages of what I listed on
You have.
on your
Yeah.
page on Facebook.
I got them.
So
Yeah, thank you.
everything I
Yeah.
had listed down, I sent to you already.
And
I discovered it all on my own.
Right.
From what
And
I understand,
information is
NASA
out
said
there.
it was.
What information is out there is the only information that's out there, and that's the only information they're going to allow to be out there. So if we didn't get a hold of that information before it was suppressed, then that's that. But there's a lot of things that they blur the lines on. I mean, back in the days, I remember in the 70s, I seen that picture on Mars of the face on Mars, and I was like, whoa, what is that? That is so cool. And then they came up with this Hubble telescope, and I said, the first thing they need to point that thing at is that face on Mars, because I want to see what that is. And they did it, but they blurred it out. They made it shadows, and that's not. They try to make me believe that that's what I was looking at. I don't think so.
No, you could.
And then
you could
then you
still
have
see
on Mars, Cydonia, pyramids, and I'm like,
Right.
come on.
I
The
know
moon.
what
when it,
pictures you're talking about. I've seen those images as well, and you can still make out the face in them,
yeah. Although it was blurred out
even though they distorted it.
yeah, different bases on the moon.
Yeah.
Johnny Marks got a good
Um,
point. Johnny Marks got a good point. He's saying if humans get abducted by aliens, they are set free. If humans catch an alien, they wouldn't let it free. So we ain't like them.
No, we're only hybrids.
Remember the day the Earth stood still? Not the new one with Keanu Reeves, the old one, the original.
Yeah.
With Klaatu, they showed up in Washington, D.C., and he came out with this thing, and they got the military people, they're pointing rifles and guns and tanks and everything is, I mean, from that point on, every time there's an alien showing up here on Earth, we gotta point some weapons. We feel threatened,
Right.
Who in their right mind, if there was an alien, want to visit this place? So there has to be undercover, in stealth mode when they come here and they do whatever experiment or visitations. It has to be done under the cover of darkness, because if it's done out in the brightness, they get shot down. I mean, poor E.T. When I went to see that when I was a kid, oh, poor little E.T. They chasing him all over. The guy with the keys chasing him all over. But he wanted to have an experience just as much as the kid did. But this thing chose the kid and not him. He wasn't out to kill it or dissect it. He was just as fascinated about it as the kid was. I got that. A lot of people got the point that the guy with the keys wanted to dissect this thing. At first, the government wanted to do this, but he wasn't down with the government in that part. You know, I mean, I'm only talking about a movie, but this is what we absorb as humans. We see these movies, you know, Independence Day. Every time they come here, they want to take us out, and that's not the case necessarily. That's what they put in our heads. So
Right.
a lot
That's
of
what
people
they
are
want us
scared.
to think.
They want us
Yeah.
to think they're threatening, you know. But bottom line is, we're here because of them.
That's right. I agree with you 100%.
We're here because of them. We are them, you know.
That's right. We're alien hybrids. We all have alien DNA.
Yeah, you know.
Okay. I see Tammy Bonham.
Yeah, she says, do you believe that NASA has any real pictures? Because they said their pictures are made on Adobe Photoshop program.
Only the ones that when they were here on Earth practicing for the
You know, everything is on a time delay. Everything is on a time delay, even pictures. You know, we don't get anything exact minute to minute as it happens. Everything has to be a time delay, just in case they see something that they don't want us to see. You know.
Now they may have only used footage of them doing practices while they did the actual flight. You got to stop and think that, like he says, there's a time delay between the moon and here. Back in the 1960s, it would have been 10, 15 minutes before the image arrived from there to here. So, I mean, anytime you're doing watch a newscast, watch the newscaster ask a question, and then the other person stands there for about 4 or 5 seconds before he answers. There's a time delay. Now, picture the distance to the moon. So what do they do? They filmed the crew doing their practice runs here on Earth. Now, during the time that they're up on the moon, they're cooperating with they're trying to correlate each video along with what they're actually doing on the moon. Like if they come down on the ladder, you get people saying, "Who took the pictures?" If that's him off the lunar limb, who took the pictures?
Who's the guy with the camera? He should be given the credit for one small step for mankind.
Yeah, it's a cameraman standing in the studio, but in actuality, he's actually coming off the ladder up there on the moon, landing on, his feet down on the ground. He takes a picture of his footprints. We can't see it on anything when it was fresh, but the pictures come back with them.
Right. He didn't have a selfie stick.
Now he had a small video camera with him. Buzz may have took the pictures of Neil from a distance, or Neil took pictures of Buzz from a distance.
All right.
While they were up there. But those pictures weren't seen until after they got back.
Oh yeah, they have to go through them first. And what about that transmission? The missing 2 minutes. Remember that?
The missing 2 minutes.
That ham radio operators picked up.
Spacecraft. They used
They're sitting right there on the edge watching us. That made it through.
Let me ask you this: Who stood on the moon's surface, filming the moon lander taking back off from the moon?
They had a camera sitting there, more than likely, but I doubt it. They probably just took a video of something taken off.
In other words, they just had somebody there, left them on the surface of the moon.
Back in the 60s, people were so gullible. They never seen anything like that before in their life on television. Nowadays, you can recreate that and you can believe anything. You believe Godzilla stomping through your neighborhood. I mean, the CGI they have today. I mean, can you imagine if they had that technology back then?
I saw Godzilla out back in my field the other day, so who knows?
A lot of those pictures with the sunlight or with the lighting the angles are different. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Where's the light coming from?
right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people believe it was done in a soundstage. You know, a lot of people believe that they had to. It was a race. It was a race to get to the moon amongst the superpowers. They had to get there first, so they had to make them believe we were there, we were here. But what were they racing to get? Because there's technology that's left on the moon. There was technology there. They knew it. They knew
And
it.
here's
I
another.
have got a video on my
Did
timeline
you?
from Stanley Kubrick saying that the moon landings were not real. I've tagged you in it, Jim. I've tagged you in it, Mark, and you in it, Charles. A video from Stanley Kubrick saying that the moon
I've
landings were
probably
not
seen
real.
that because I've studied that stuff extensively. You know,
I've seen
I mean,
lots of people say that it's not real. It's like all the flat Earth people.
And,
They
and
say the
another
Earth is
thing.
just flat. You know.
Another thing is this: why does NASA claim today that they lost all the technology to get to the moon? Right. That's why we haven't been there in the last 50 years.
yeah, it didn't make sense.
They had.
That thin,
Excuse.
That's
that
right.
thin
That's right. They say
capsule.
all that technology was lost. How is that possible?
It's not. We've got
Right.
more technology now than what we
That's
did
right.
then.
That's right.
There's more
Yeah.
technology in these
It should,
phones right here
yeah, it
than
should
they
be
had
child's play to be
board.
able to do this now. But still, we haven't gone back to the moon. It should be child's play. If we were able to do it back then in a tin can and
That's
strings,
right.
then it should be child's play right now.
That's right.
Because
Dedrick
that's as
Hilton says
far
the
we
movies.
advanced from then to now.
Dedrick Hilton said
I
the
mean, these
movies is building us up for hate of higher life forms. Man ego is destroying humanity. Thank you for that, Dedrick.
I mean, look at all these
Well,
devices that we have. I think this is reverse engineering, cell phones and laptops and computers. I mean, look at these flat screen TVs. You think we came up with the idea for that stuff, the technology? Oh no, I don't. We haven't done that. We're not that smart. Remember the TVs we used to have, them giant, big monstrosities with the tubes?
Yeah.
That's us. That's us. So we found something on this on these ships. Is like, wow, look at this and reverse engineered.
Oswald, right?
And now we got big flat screen TVs and computers we carry in our hands, known as cell phones. I mean, come on, we're not this
Cody,
smart.
Cody Greer says
Mhm.
there was no burn marks from the jets on the surface either.
It didn't kick up a lot of dust.
who stuck around to see? There is a lot of dust there. That's about it. You know, the
Mhm.
the dust from the jets, you know, flew everywhere. But who stuck around to see if there was any burn marks?
And those footprints should be gone.
Leon
They're not.
Fifield Davies believed it was filmed in a studio, not on the moon.
Now I noticed. I saw something the other day. I was surfing on the web, and they have a lunar orbiter up there that has a 4K ultra camera on it that's been taking pictures of the surface of the moon. Well, it took some close-up pictures of where some of the moon landings were, and in those pictures you can clearly see the tire tracks going across from the rover. You can see where the landers are at, you know, the bottom parts of the lunar limbs, and you know, they're up there.
Yeah, we got there eventually, but not when they said we did. I don't think. You know, it was a race. It was a race to get there.
Big Makarov is asking, how did they get past the Kuiper belt, and how did they deal with the radiation levels on the moon? I think what he's referring to is the Van Allen belt there, the radiation belt. Yeah.
Yeah, the Van Allen. See, that's a question I can't answer. I don't know how if we don't have the technology to get past that much radiation, I don't know how we could, but obviously they did. They must have
Tammy
had
says,
either it doesn't affect that much in space as people think it does, or due to the vacuum of space, the plus the coldness of space, it may not affect that as much out there as it would
Tammy
here
says,
in
Tammy
our.
says we can't. Tammy says we can't go back to the moon, but we can go to Mars.
We're going back to both.
Some
Last
say
I
that
knew,
we
we were
did
going back
land
to
on the
both.
moon. Some say we did land on the moon. The astronauts landed on the moon and were told to get off by the tall greys. And
Yeah,
they saw
Yeah.
they
a
didn't want
massive
us to come back.
ship while they were there.
They told us not to come back.
Yeah, basically. That's why they filmed the landing in a studio, because they couldn't film it on the moon because they were told to get off the moon when they were there, and they saw a massive mothership as well. That's what some say.
Yep.
Hence the reason why the moon landing was filmed in a studio by Stanley Kubrick, who was one of the best directors of all time at that time.
Yeah, they recruited him to do that.
And now I've got a video from Stanley Kubrick saying that there was no moon landing. So what do you think?
He was recruited. I think I read somewhere he was recruited to make a movie.
Yeah.
Because that's what they needed. They needed the world to think that we got there first, because the Russians had Sputnik and they beat us to that. We were in the phase of sending monkeys and dogs and stuff up there. We had to jump
Yeah.
beyond that. We had to speed things up.
Yeah,
And which better way to?
It was a space race, with Russia.
Leon Farfield Davis says, "Did you see a flag on the moon?"
Maybe we didn't make it there, but we made videos to show that we did. Who knows? Until everything's disclosed 100%. Who knows? Maybe we haven't gone to space. I've been seeing
Don't you think?
other people
Yeah.
though, like Dr. Stephen Greer or Linda Moulton Howe. They're sitting there talking about these fabulous 3 ships that we got out in space that can go light years away in a matter of minutes. They even got the names of the ships out there. They got 3 different ones. One, and they supposedly can go. Last I heard Linda Moulton Howe say she was talking about one of them where it can go 50 light years in just about 4 seconds.
I'd like to see some photos of the other side of the moon. That's what I would like. Authentic, real photos. And we're not going to see that. They're not going to let us see that. I mean, who knows what's on the other side? That's not within our vision. I mean, anybody with a telescope can look from here up to the moon, but can't see on the other side. Well, we got the capability to see the other side. They know what's on the other side, but they're not going to let us know. I don't know how they're keeping that secret.
It's quite amazing.
I like the videos of the moon when you see an area go into shadow and then lights come on out in craters.
Yeah.
Those are cool videos.
The Americans keep it hush-hush about UFOs and extraterrestrials. The Americans keep it hush-hush, yet the Russians are very open about other intelligent life forms. Don't you think that's amazing?
Yeah, the Russians were they used their SMERSH agents even get books on going out and checking out all these encounters that they have out there. They have a book on all the alien encounters that they have.
Absolutely. On Amazon Books, it is. You could buy on Amazon Books the KGB alien book that actually discloses 82 species of aliens, I believe. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they have that many species in the book unless they've added to it. Last time I looked at the book that I seen, there was only about 50 something in there.
Okay.
But-
And
But
it tells you
they have
there.
online, you know, about 80 something listed daily.
Yeah. And it tells you whether they're malevolent species or benevolent, their quest for life, and if they're affiliated with mankind, what their purpose with mankind is. Yeah.
They also tell you things like certain races were like the cause of some of our major legends in our own history, like the elves and the dwarves and the leprechauns and whoever else.
Yeah.
Like the Tarot and the Darrow, they were the leprechauns and the dwarves.
Yeah.
And then you got the Elflax that were supposedly the elven races for in the middle, I guess the middle section of Europe, around Germany and all that.
Tammy
Then you
Bond
got
was on.
other races that created the myth of the vampires. There's so many different races.
When you look deeper, there's truth in a lot of things. You know, on the surface, it seems like Looney Tuneville, but once you go past that, I remember there was this publication. It was called the Weekly News. I used to always see it at the checkout counter. You know, they'll have some weird story like Bat Boy found in a cave. You know, but when you read the article, there was some factual stuff that made the story true. It's just that when you think on the surface, it's like, yeah, get out of here. That's not real, you know. But it is real. They just put a spin on it to make it seem like it's Looney Tunes, because who's going to believe this stuff? And that's what they do. So we have to sort through the nonsense to get to the reality, to get to the truth. And that thin line right there is starting to break between the government and people like us and MUFON and other people who believe that they're being blindsided by the government. It's a thin line, and it's getting thinner and thinner. They're going to have to say, okay, well, the jig is up sooner or later, or they're just going to reveal themselves, and that'll be that, you know. But it's a real thin line, and it's about to break, I think.
Vic Makarov says, so if we haven't been to the moon, then everything Linda Moulton Howell is reporting to do with activity on the moon is false then.
Where'd that come from?
Victor,
I never said we haven't been to the moon. I just said maybe we haven't.
I don't think we were there when we said we were there, but we eventually made it there.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it was a race. We had to make it look like we were there, and then they cleaned up the whole thing, and eventually we got there.
Yeah, because it was a space race with Russia to be there before Russia. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
Well,
we can't really see it. Like, we don't have cameras up there, but we could only depend on the cameras that NASA had at the time. Who else was filming this? So we had one source.
I saw another question.
And that was grainy at that.
I saw another question where somebody asked, why do the astronauts train in water to get the feel of working in
And weightlessness.
zero?
Cody Greer says Doc Greer has been under fire and has been disclosing a lot of secrets. I don't know if you've heard the secret from Doc Greer.
I didn't quite understand that.
Doc Greer has been under fire for revealing secrets. That's what Cody Greer is saying.
Somebody's revealing secrets.
Yeah, Doc Greer.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have to go now.
Dr. Greer.
Okay. Thank you, Charles, for your time. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me.
All right, Charles.
Okay,
Good luck on
nice
your
meeting you,
marriage.
Mark. Okay,
Thank you.
Nice meeting
thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you, Charles.
you.
Yeah.
Dr. Greer, giving up a lot of secrets and stuff. He runs a very dangerous show, if you ask me, because governments don't like that sort of thing. But he has a lot of government officials in his pocket. He even goes to Congress to confront them over it. So I give the man some kudos on his bravery. You know, still he does. Like I was saying, he was I saw a video of him talking to somebody in an interview where he said he named off 3 ships that we've had for the last 2 decades since the 60s
Yeah,
that have been in space that can go from here to our nearest neighbor in space in a matter of minutes.
yeah,
We've had the technology since then to do that. He's even stated when in his video unclassified or whatever he called it, that we have the technology to take ET home.
wow, really? Okay.
And then I saw another video today where Linda Moulton Howe was talking in a conference, and she was also talking about those same exact 3 ships that Stephen Greer talked about.
Yeah.
Saying, telling them that 20 years ago, the ship could go to the nearest neighbor in like 4 minutes. Today's technology, they can go 50 light years in just 4 seconds.
Wow.
That's something high level people are talking about. Besides, whether they're giving truthful facts or not, I don't know, but they're naming off the same exact ships. Talking about the same
Yes.
subject, and they're not even in the same areas. That one's maybe on West Coast, one's maybe on the East Coast. But they're both talking about the same stuff.
Yeah,
And they both have pretty high contacts within the government.
yeah. Tammy Barnum says she's still amazed at how President Nixon could call Buzz on a landline and the call went through in minutes. She finds that astonishing.
Anybody hear of a ham radio?
Ham radio. Yeah.
Ham radio, you could talk to somebody on the other side of the world, and and it was like you're making a regular phone call.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember in the 70s when I was in the Navy, I was on my way to Australia, and I called my mother all the way from Australia on a ham radio on my ship to St. Louis, Missouri. I called my mother, and it was just like having a regular phone call. Radio waves travel at the speed of light.
Cody Greer says, Mark, I've seen them, and yes, I have watched them ascend into the sky, and they just disintegrated into nothing, as if it passed through a portal. He's on about the spaceship.
What did he see?
The spaceships that you're on about, the mothership.
Oh, he's seen where they opened portals up and just went through them.
Yes.
I've seen something similar. I've never seen the portal exactly, but I've seen things. I watch the skies always, and I had that one picture that I showed before, where there was about 50 different sightings that I saw in the picture. where I outlined where I saw them. Now in that picture, there's one picture where one set of lines where an object moved slowly across the sky and then just stopped and disappeared. Then another object came streaking across the sky to that same exact spot, and it also disappeared
Yeah.
within moments. You know,
Yeah.
so either there was a portal there or there was a mothership waiting for them. I don't know. It was too high up.
Yeah.
But I was talking to somebody else about portals recently, and portals are very possible. You know, all they got to do is just open up a portal, go from here to go to there in a matter of moments.
Yeah.
It could be a dimensional portal.
Yeah, I believe portals are real, to be honest.
It could
Well,
be a dimensional
allegedly,
portal where they go through the dimension for a dimensional barrier and come out the other side real quick. You know, dimensional.
from what
dimensional
I understand, from what I understand, NASA's got a satellite that can detect portals, dozens of portals opening and closing every day around the Earth. However, they can't see what goes in and out of the portals. They just know that they open and close, but they can't see what goes in and out of the portals.
They can detect the energy of the portal being open, but
Yes.
whatever goes in and comes out, they don't notice it that easily, unless it's a
That's
ship
right.
that, you know, that doesn't have cloaking technology.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I believe that.
Cody Greer says dimensional portals are totally real. You're on point there, Mark. Yeah, you believe.
Dimensional portals are real. I've heard a lot of mediums and stuff talk about dimensional portals.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think of her name, but she's always talking about going through a portal where she talks to actually reptilians.
Yeah.
And they show her all these images and stuff, and she helps police solve murders and things like that through her psychic ability.
Aleister Crowley allegedly opened portals as well, opened and closed portals, and he opened quite a few and left them open. And Dennis Wheatley called him the most evil man in the world for doing that.
Right.
Leaving portals open because anything could come through, any negative energy could come through a portal.
That's true. It depends on where the portal leads to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vic says anyone with heightened ESP abilities can see portals.
I think that depends on the portal, actually.
And the Hadron Collider, that's created a portal, isn't it?
What was
Sarah
that?
Williams says I opened one and it was awful and very difficult to close.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah.
Thank you.
And Tammy Barnum said, don't you? Sorry.
I would like to know
Tammy
how she
Barnum.
opened the portal.
Okay. Yeah, ritual, I'd imagine. Using words of power, something and conjuring in a ritual, I'd imagine.
The purpose of CERN is to more than likely bring the temperatures of the Earth down a few notches, but they don't seem to be doing too well because they keep putting chemicals in our sky, and instead of lowering the temperatures, they're raising the temperatures. You see all these planes go across the sky that leave a trail 3,000 miles long. That's not contrails; those are chemtrails.
Yeah,
A contrail
that's
will
right.
dissipate within a matter of moments.
That's right, chemtrails, yeah, which is not good for us to breathe in either.
Right. It's
Then-
like you can have blue skies out there, and suddenly you see planes crisscrossing left, right, all over. until you got
Yeah.
a maze of smoke going through your sky, and then it just spreads out. It doesn't dissipate.
Yes.
So,
Barium and
you know,
aluminium are two of the toxins in the chemtrails, which is not good for us breathing.
yeah, my microchips or whatever.
Smart dust.
miniature smart
Yeah.
dust. That's what the word I was
Yeah.
looking for.
Nanotechnology, basically. Yeah.
My a partner on my my website. He's heavy into smart dust, trying to figure out for all that as well.
Some
He's
say
the one
there's
that
smart
turned
dust.
me on to all that.
Some say there's smart dust in the vaccines, in some of the vaccines as well. Like, I know it's debatable.
I don't trust vaccines either. They could also put a little microchip into your arm that you don't
Yeah.
know about.
Vaccines are a taboo subject here on the podcast. You know that, Bradley. I don't even know why you bring them up.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing with
Always
these
gonna be,
things.
man.
You don't know if somebody's tapped into it and listening to what you're saying or what you're doing.
I'm having enough problems now getting into my main profile. You want to make it completely worse? So
No, I know. We changed the subject. I was talking about smart dust, actually. We changed the subject.
yeah, well, that isn't what you said.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Sarah Williams says, by playing around with different tools to open my abilities even further, I started playing with different tools, kind of like a Ouija board. It scared me so bad that I shut my abilities down for about 20 years. It was intentional, but not entirely. I did not know what I was getting into. That's regarding a Ouija board. Yeah, a Ouija boards are portals.
I don't trust Ouija boards. That's messing around with spirits you don't want to mess with.
No,
In my opinion, I don't trust Ouija boards.
no. Well, like you need protection on a Ouija board if you are going to use one. You know, like crystals, incense, white candle, holy water,
Mhm.
even like. There's a variety of protection you can use to ensure safety. You shouldn't leave a planchette on a Ouija board unattended either. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, no, it's good to have caution. I agree with you there, Mark. Yeah.
I agree.
Vic says they have HARP set up in America and Russia. They're supposed to be able to give us the ability to control Earth's environmental conditions. Yeah, HARP controls the weather. They say whoever controls the weather controls the world, allegedly.
Yeah, HARP does that too. They have bases down south. From what I hear, that they do stuff with the sky, radio waves or whatever, and you see strange patterns in clouds from what they're doing. I don't know much about them, so I can only speculate a little bit.
Tammy says if Hop can make it rain, why not put out all these wildfires?
I haven't seen HARP
Because,
make
because,
it rain yet.
because, they're, because they're the ones that are setting them.
HARP doesn't make it rain. HARP makes hurricanes.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know,
Sarah's
what they
asking,
do is
what about sleep paralysis and ETs? Is there a connection?
very real.
Yeah.
I'm witness to one of that.
Yeah.
Sleep paralysis, actually wide awake paralysis. Whatever you want to call it. I experienced all that as a child, so that's very real.
Yeah, I believe you. I've experienced sleep paralysis myself 3 times. The first time it happened, I thought I was going to be paralyzed forever.
Yeah.
when I could move my eyeballs, my eyelids, but I couldn't move anything else. And I thought I'd be paralyzed forever. In my case, it wasn't extraterrestrials; it was spiritual demons. Spiritual, no, definitely weren't
Right.
extraterrestrials. Although sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. Yeah, I understand that.
Well, we're coming up at the top of the hour here, so we're gonna have to close the show shortly.
Thank you so much for
All right.
appearing, Mark Wilson. Been a pleasure to have you on board.
That's okay. I seem to have a dog over there that's trying to get my attention.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, Mark. We appreciate it. I'd like to thank everybody for their interaction, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Anytime, guys.
All right. Thank you,
All right.
Mark. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.